Hi, this is Amuta Stone, and you're listening to the Well Actually podcast.
Welcome back to the Well Actually podcast. I'm your host, Toju. Glad you're able to join us today. Thank you for listening, however, you may be listening. Thank you for also watching on YouTube and on Spotify. Please don't forget to rate, review, only 5-star ratings, please. And of course, subscribe, share with your friends, family. Make sure that they know what we have going on over here. Also, want to welcome you back to another edition of our Women in Afrobeats series, where we spotlight and highlight different stories from are very talented women in the industry. And we are joined by one of those talented women here, an all around creative singer, storyteller, Miss Amuta Stone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi. Really good to be
All
here.
right. Yeah, it's great to have you here. We've had conversations about your music and with regards to this podcast for, I want to say, about close to 5 years now. We've even
It's
like
true.
featured some of your work on previous
Yeah.
episodes. So it's great to
Yes.
actually have you on the show right now.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So let's just dive into it. How did you start your music career? How did you pursue a career in music? Take us through your journey.
Okay. So I always knew that I wanted to make music because as a child, I would, just sing in the mirror or sing in the shower. And I started writing when I was a teenager. But then I consciously decided that I want to start creating music in 2010. But I didn't know what I wanted to sound like. I didn't know my style. I didn't know my sound. I just knew that, oh, I could sing, I could write music. So at first, I think I said I was going to do soft rock or something like that. But yeah, it took me a while. I spent like 5 years discovering and finding my sound. So sometime around 2015, 2016, I knew, okay, this was who I was, or this is who I am, and this is how I want to sound. So yeah, in 2015, I knew that this is who I am and this is how I want to sound. And then from 2016, I started to hone my stage presence. Um, I just started performing anywhere, really everywhere. That's what I was doing, so that I could get used to standing on stage and standing in front of the crowd because I was actually a very shy person. I think I'm still a recovering shy girl. So yeah, it
Okay.
was it was hard. It was hard. It was really hard because I even battled with it for a while because at some point I used to say, oh, maybe I should hide my identity and just sing. So I struggled with hiding and being known for a really long time. Okay, I 2016 up until about 2019, I was honing my stage presence. I didn't really have recorded music. I was just performing songs I had written, my original songs. So when I started for the first 2 years, I think I was even doing like free performances. Then at some point, I started getting invited to events, festivals, and gigs, especially in Abuja. So
Okay.
yeah. And then 2019, 2020, I started recording. So now I've got like so many recorded songs, so many features. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you initially wanted to like start with soft rock and then
Hmm.
you sort of evolved. So how then would you describe your sound for anyone who hasn't heard any of your music yet?
Yeah, so my sound is really my voice. That's what it is. And I call it soulful ballad. So it's soulful, it's music of the soul, and I tell stories with it. So I share my experiences and I share the experiences of the people around me. If they let me, I sometimes I have to take permission to share those stories. Um, yeah, I feel like in the future, maybe the genre is going to change. The name of the genre is going to change. I just coined that genre. I called it soulful ballad because I've been featured on hip hop, Afrobeats, different genres of music. So it's really just my voice.
Okay. And just to wrap up this part of it, like what artists would you say that your whether it's your voice itself or the type of music you make, would you say you are I'm not saying like necessarily compare yourself, but for listeners, it's a good tool for them to sort of know what to expect sonically. Like who would you compare your voice and your style of music to?
Oh, I have some influences. So I would say I've got Missy Gray, I've got
That's
Jill Scott. Yeah, Missy Gray, Jill Scott, um, Elvis Presley, but not in his voice. It's really just in his delivery sometimes. I get that sometimes. There's Peggy Lee, yeah, and there's Ella Fitzgerald. There's also Louis Armstrong, a
okay.
little bit, a little bit, yeah. But I find that people always compare me to Asha. They always say, "Oh, you sound like Asha." You and it's I love that. I'm honored, but it's interesting how she's not like directly an influence. No, she isn't. I love her sound. I think she's amazing, and I've actually opened for her twice in Abuja, 2 years in
Really?
a row. She had concert. What year was this? 2021 and 2022. Yeah.
That's crazy because it's so much that not just listeners, but show promoters are linking you with her because of what you yourself don't even have her as necessarily
Yeah.
as an influence, even though you're, like you said, you're a fan of her music. So you basically
Yes.
touched on all the names I was going to say, like sonically is Macy Gray, even the texture of your voice for the song is Jill Scott, and
Mhm.
obviously the most direct one I would say is Asha. But yeah, that's very okay. That's very interesting. How would you describe your creative process from inspiration to actually recording?
From inspiration to recording, it's different every time. Sometimes the melodies just come and there are no words, there's nothing, just melody. So I'm just humming something. And then sometimes the words come. So I have just like one line with a melody. And then sometimes I get a beat or I'm sent a beat by a producer, somebody who wants to collaborate with me. I get that a lot actually. Like people send me DMs from different parts of the world, and like it's hard to even keep up sometimes because I actually like the sounds that they send me. So when they send me these beats and then I have to write, it's different every time. If I'm collaborating with somebody and for example it's a rap artist, I'll write the hook and then just send it and then the person now builds from there. So I actually I'm the one who takes the song in the direction that it should go and then they build from there. Yeah. So it's different. And then sometimes I can be in the studio and the producer is creating something. He only just starts with maybe a kick or drum or beat, just a kick and I'm already building something and I'm singing. So we create together. I think I did that. I've done that a bunch of times. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a favorite lane of those, whether it's just the melody on your own, just the lyrics on your own, hearing from someone across the world, or being in like the collaborative environment right from the beginning with the producer? Do you have a favorite lane out of all of those?
I really don't like because I stay open. That's what I do. I just stay open because I feel like I'm a channel or vessel. So and sometimes I say this a lot. I don't write the songs. Yes, I'm a storyteller. I tell the stories. Yes, but I don't even write the songs because the way they come, I really can't explain it. So it's just I hear it and then it comes out. So I'm not even thinking too much about it. So um, I really don't. Whichever, to be honest, whichever way works, as long as it's coming, I really just stay present with it and I go with that.
Okay, so you mentioned like the different ways you collaborate with people, whether it's through DMs halfway across the world or being in person with like a producer. So like what does collaboration mean to you? Like, and how do you pick the right people that you work with?
For me, it's alignment. It has to align. So the message has to align, the vision has to align. That's how I pick them. So when I ask a few questions sometimes when somebody contacts me and says, "Oh, they want to collaborate," so I ask why. Why are you making music? Then I also even ask questions like about their names as well. I ask, what does your name mean? Especially their stage name. It tells me a lot about them, the story behind the name that they chose and they picked, because definitely somebody didn't give them the name, they chose it. Yeah. And yeah, it's really just alignment. As long as we align, I'm good. Like I don't stress it. Yeah.
Okay. So you frequently collaborated with Juno and T Base, and what is it about
Yes.
them that you constantly make music with them? What is it about? Is it something about the process? Is it about their personalities? Is it the quality of the music? What is it about those two individuals?
Everything you mentioned, actually, the process, the quality of the music, everything. They're both great at what they do. So I actually introduced them. I met T-Base I think in 2018 or 2019. Then I met Juno shortly after, like a few months after I met T-Base, and we were supposed to collaborate. T-Base and I were supposed to collaborate. Juno and I were supposed to collaborate. So one day I was like, why don't we do something together, right? I was thinking about LSD, Labyrinth, Sia, and Diplo. I don't know if you know that project.
Yeah.
So they
Uh-huh.
have this joint project. It's called LSD. So I'm like, why don't we do something like that? It'll be fun to do. It'll be great to do. I think because I really like that project. So and they were open to it. So yeah.
This is the second Sia reference that I'm getting from you today, because you also said that you considered going anonymous while singing. So that first brought up Sia to my mind. So now this is the second inference from that. Okay. So,
That's true.
but yeah, yeah. So are there any other artists, producers that you've collaborated with frequently that you really enjoyed working with?
Oh yeah, like in the present, I'm working with Brace of Spades.
Okay.
And then there's a producer called Reka. He's supposed to also be like a trap artist, but he's an amazing producer. It's just that he doesn't have the time. So we've only had one song. Or previously he hasn't had the time. Hopefully in the future he will. We've created one song called Body and Soul. I don't know if we can find that somewhere on Spotify. But yeah, that like the production process was amazing. So yeah, that producer Reka. There's another producer, Iki's on the beat. He's in the UK. I had a project with him called EJ that was released November 11th, 2022. Ooh, that project, the process of creating and everything was just amazing. Yeah. But presently, I'm working with Brace. Cody Brace is what he's called.
Okay.
We're releasing a project first quarter of this year called Freedom. We
Freedom.
have two singles. Yeah, we have two singles. Um, we have already released two singles. The first one is called Speak to Me, and the second one I just released in January. We just released in January 11th, called Take Me Away.
Okay. And to all of the people listening and watching, we'll have a little bit of a surprise for you with that coming up. So stay tuned for that as well. Are you signed to a label? Are you independent? How would you describe that portion of things?
I'm independent.
Okay, because I know at some point you mentioned taking a step back from the music business, and then you sort of clarified that it was the business portion of things. So, like, what went into that decision, and even the need for the clarification?
Okay, the decision in the beginning was really more like my intuition saying, make this announcement. So I work with my intuition a lot. Some people can relate. Like I'm very connected to it. I tap into it. So once I feel something or I'm supposed to do something, sometimes I really don't even know the reason why I'm supposed to be doing it, but I just do it. I will have a conversation with my team first and the people who I am working with, and then I'll share with them, this is how I feel, this is what I feel. Can we go ahead? And then they'll be like, okay. Sometimes they'll be like, wait, why? They might be a little bit apprehensive, but then they always see why we should go ahead. So that was it in the first place. Like when I made that announcement about quitting the music industry, it was really just me saying, and I felt it too, that art is not something that should be solely commercialized, or just we shouldn't just be focused on making quick bucks. Like, you get what I'm saying? I mean, money is great, money is amazing, you need money, we all need money. How do we do anything without money? How do we pay bills? But it will definitely come, but that should not be the first thing that you're thinking about before you even begin creating. So I don't want to sit down and then and have to look at the market or look at the industry and say, oh, what is popping, what's going on, and then start creating from there. No, I feel like if I ever do that, that means I'm a sellout.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we've had conversations like that on previous episodes of the podcast, where it feels like we're almost at a crossroads of commerce versus creativity, and in some aspects, like commerce is winning. So to
Mm.
hear that from an artist, it kind of feels like validation, almost in those ideas and those thoughts that, like the struggle is something that is real.
Yeah, it is. It
So
is.
then so then the clarification, what spawned that?
Okay, also because I got a lot of calls. Like what I had said was I was quitting the music industry, and then I said that um up until the Freedom Project is released, I'm still going to create. Like it was also a little bit. We put a little bit of a spin on it, yeah. Also to draw attention to the Freedom Project, yeah. Because my team was like, let's spice it up a little bit. Let's add this, add that. I'm like, okay, because when I shared it, that's what's how they said we felt we should present it. So the clarification, I had to clarify because people kept calling me and telling me that I had quit music. Why did
Mm,
I quit music? And then every time they call me and say you quit music, sometimes I get so tired to even explain. And then sometimes I say, oh, I didn't quit music, I quit the industry. That's what I kept saying. But yeah, so we had to put that one out.
okay. All right. So now
Yeah.
that, I mean, at least now you have another avenue where your clarification is out as well with this podcast. So anyone who's listening,
True.
you have her answer here. No need to keep calling. She is
Yeah.
still making music. She's just in tune with the reality of what's going on right now, whether it's being a creative in an increasingly commercialized world.
Yeah, that's it. And I also believe that music is spiritual. So it's something that should come from within. Yeah, not it shouldn't be influenced by external forces or by anything external. Like do create what you really, really feel like creating. Send the message that you want to send out and be open about it. You don't need to like check look around and check what everybody else is doing before you create or before you do something.
So we've touched on like your collaborations with like Juno and T Base. So are there any female artists or producers that you've worked with recently that that you're scheduled to work with, that you look forward to working with?
There's a duo in Abuja, my friends Tara and Bella. We've been trying to get into the studio for a really long time, but life keeps happening. Yeah. But yeah, Tara and Bella. It's interesting how I don't even work with a lot of female artists. Yeah. That's very, very interesting. But
Is
yeah,
there a
it's
reason?
interesting.
Is there a reason why, or is it just
No,
like
no reason at all. No reason at all. Because I don't, as much as like with collaborations, I don't really go and ask people to collaborate with me most of the time. I mean, I have asked a few female artists to collaborate with me, but we haven't found the right time. I have actually put it out there. I said, "Oh, I would like to do something with you whenever else." But I don't know with the guys that I have collaborated with. It's instant. So either they come to me, or when I tell them that oh we should do this, share an idea with them, they're just instantly open, and then we do it as soon as we talk about it. But I've spoken to a few female creatives, female artists, but we haven't really got into it. So hopefully this is the year that we get to it.
okay, yeah, putting that out there into the world, like you said.
Yeah, there's also Maka. Maka is I think she's jazz soul. Oh, I love her sound. We will definitely get to it this year. Yeah.
So part of what we're doing with this series of our Women in Afrobeat series is that we want to highlight the voices of the women and then understand like the specific struggles that women in Afrobeats face. It's not necessarily something that even as a guy who listens to all kinds of music would even be aware of. So I wanted to give you this opportunity, like in what you've experienced or what you've observed, what are some of the things where you felt like have almost uh, existed as a hurdle or just making things not as smooth as you would like necessarily being a woman in this industry, and you could take that however, like whatever it means to you. So like just shedding some light on that.
No, it's definitely tough being a woman in the music scene or the music industry because you sometimes first of all once and it is, let's be honest, it is a male dominated space. We all know that. So everyone that you have to work with is male most of the time, and everyone at top level is male. So when you get in contact with these people and you're having a conversation, first of all, sometimes one of the things that they ask you are things like, okay, marriage, children, is that going to slow you down? That's what they ask. They
Oh,
always, yeah, yeah, I've gotten that a lot. They're like, oh, you're not married now. When you're and you are really doing this, what if we start working, we invest in you, and then you get married? I feel like it's going to slow you down. Maybe because of the past experience that they have had. I don't know.
oh.
So it's like a fear or a reservation for them sometimes. Yeah. So I get that. I get that.
In a previous episode, we had a guest who mentioned that when her hangups were on the business side, where she's trying to collaborate with someone, whether it be a producer, and they're trying to take advantage of her being a woman, trying to renegotiate terms after the fact.
Mm.
So
Oh
it's like,
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
so it's almost like they're banking on someone being a bit more docile because they're a woman and they want to take advantage there. And I like that's not even something that would have even crossed my mind to think was even a thing.
But
But it's like,
that
so
can be a thing. Yeah.
but has there been anything, whether it's like you said, someone trying to invest in you on the front end, or like in this case after recording, then trying to renegotiate on the back end, almost trying to bully terms, and this
And
is
then maybe give you less than what they had originally talked about.
yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. It doesn't happen. It happens everywhere. In business in general, it happens if you think about it, especially in Nigeria. If you think about it, it really does. It happens.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
okay, I've had cases where I present an idea, and this has happened to me multiple times. I present an idea to a guy who, this idea is good. So the guy, he can make it happen, right? And we have a conversation about it. And then they now make it seem like, or they tell me that I should maybe like take like a lesser role so that they can have like a greater role. Maybe like be the
Oh,
producer. I'm telling you, yeah.
okay.
And then next thing they're asking me something like maybe they want me to be their assistant or something like that. They'll forget about this idea and then I start asking you to be their assistant. It's crazy, man. Women, oh, we they try. That's why it's actually good for us to work together, unite and work together. There are exceptions, though. There are exceptions, but I've experienced it, so I know what she's talking about. I do. Yeah.
Okay. Like, so is there any other, like, I don't want to call it necessarily a struggle, but putting some spotlight on like negative experiences, because in
Mhm.
some ways, like, you're letting other people know like they're not alone, but it's like
Yeah.
you're not you're not the one that's struggling with this if it's being put
Mhm.
out there. Like, I'm not even necessarily saying name anybody or whatever, but like the experiences that you've gone through that people, myself included, wouldn't
Mhm.
even have considered.
I mean, there's also the one that most people have gone through. I've gone through that too, and people would have actually thought about it because I get asked that question a lot sometimes. My friends will ask me like, how do you deal with like advances of men in the industry? Like especially the ones who want to work with you and then they come at you with sexual advances. How do you deal with that? I get asked that question. And my thing is I really just want to focus on what we're here to do. Let's just work. Yeah. It's better to, um pursue things like that if we are truly truly attracted to each other. There's nothing wrong with that. People get married from working together. People end up being in great relationships from working together, but don't make it seem like, I hate it when people do this thing where they say, okay, so if you don't do this, then we can't do this. And what we're supposed to be doing is supposed to be important, right? So why are you saying that we can't do we can't do what's important unless you get your how many minutes of pleasure? Do you get? So
So
whenever I'm
how
faced with that kind of ultimatum,
mhm.
I
So
run.
how often do you think that? Well,
I
no,
don't
let
care
me
how
not
big.
say think. How often do you experience something like that, where it's like in order to collaborate or work together or advance your
Oh,
career, something
well,
like that comes up?
in recent, to be honest, in recent times, not often because I try not to even put myself in positions like that. Like
Okay.
once I know, that's why, like I said, I will ask questions before I even work with you. So I already know where your mind is, where your mindset is. So if I'm asking you questions and you're giving me some, or even with the way, if I see the way you come or you approach me, I won't even bother. Like I won't even bother like pursuing it or going further. I'll just leave it. No matter how great the opportunity is, to be honest, like because it's draining and it's stressful. And when you give into these things, more often than not, it never ever works out. Like it's not like they're going to you if you have sex with somebody and they say, okay, if you have sex with me, I give you this. It never ever works out. there's
Wow.
no there's no guarantee that, yeah, because it's like a blackmailer that contacts you and tells you that and then once you pay the first time, you're going to keep paying and paying. So what's the point?
No, I get you, and putting it out that way just it makes so much sense. Like once you succumb, like you're stuck in that cycle. But like
Mhm.
again, this is I know there's someone who's going to be in the comments like, there I'm sure there's some men that have yeah, sure, sure, buddy. I'm sure. But it just seems to be something that is more prevalent and is a hurdle that women have to climb more often.
Yes, yes. Sorry to cut in or butt in, but men have had similar experiences, obviously. And women, to be honest, women are more aggressive than men when it comes to these things. So I get that. But because it's a male dominated industry, so we have more of that.
Last thing on like collaborations, creative process. Do you have any rituals like when you are getting into the zone of either like recording, so like you're in the studio, do you have to have like specific food, specific drink, specific incense? Like is there anything that it's like I don't want to call it a superstition, but like something where it it sort of sets the mood for you when it's time to record?
It's just my mind. Like I have to be present, fully present. So I go within and I stay present. That's what I do. Then I always have to have water, water. I drink a lot of water. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing serious. There's no no candles, no that. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's get into some a specific song of yours, "Take Me Away," and
Okay.
we like I said during that's the song that's going to come up after this. So if you're listening, stay tuned. You hear that. If you're on YouTube, you're going to see the video. Can you walk us through that process of writing the song, getting recording the song, even like to the point of the video, and like the message behind the song?
Okay. So Take Me Away is one of the songs in the Freedom Project. It's the second single. It's actually track 4. Oh, because all the songs are recorded. And I think, okay, no, that wasn't the last. Yeah, that was one of the last ones to be recorded. So my producer Brace, Cody Brace, played a beat for me, and he was like, "Come and hear this. This is Afrobeat, by the way. So I don't know how you're going to respond to it because I'm so used to creating soul, jazz music, all this kind of stuff." So he said, "Listen to this and let me know if you." And then when he played it, I just started hearing. Take me away, and I was like, "Oh, I can, I like this, I like this." And he was like, "Okay, record it now that you are that you are singing it." So I just recorded it, and then he took it. Like this is the second time that kind of thing has happened. It happened with Speak to Me as well. So I recorded the chorus, and then he went back, listened to it, and because he has conversations with me regularly, he kind of knows how I think and where I'm coming from. So every time he writes something, it automatically sounds like I wrote it. So he went and then he wrote the verse and he came back with it, and he was like, he sent me a voice note, and he was like, "Listen to this, what do you think?" And immediately I heard it, I was just like, "That's it, I love it, let's record it." So we recorded it. and then decided that we're going to release it as the second single. Then we created the visualizer for it, and for the visualizer, we had an amazing team, from the stylist to the body art artist, the videographer. Everybody was just amazing, and the energy was just so beautiful. Like it was a day of no stress. It was a very stress-free day. It was amazing.
So, how long would you say it took from the moment you heard the beat initially till after the video was shot?
Mhm.
Like, can you give like an estimate of how long that process was?
From the moment I heard the beat till it was shot. So we recorded Take Me Away in 2023. Yes, it
Oh,
was recorded in 2023. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. Wait, wait, what am I saying? Hold on. Yes, at the end of 2023, sometime in December, that was when we started recording. So I had recorded the chorus, and then Brace took it away and he went to create the. Also, we had Brace and I had like a 1 year, time apart, because may her soul rest in peace. He lost his mom, and they're
oh,
actually really close. Yeah, they were really close. So in that time, I just like it was actually important to allow him to take out that time. So yeah, it took about a year. So let's say a year.
okay,
Yes, a year, a year, a
okay.
year and a few months.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break here, and the video or the song, if you're listening, is "Take Me Away" by Amuta Stone.
Stay free, stay present. Take me away, ay, 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 ay. Take me away, take me away, take me away, ay, 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 ay. Take me away, take me away, away, away. Away, 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 away. Can you locate it? What's the location? Is it rotate? Higher vibration. I'm on my way. Destination, my GPS, your navigation, bird's eye view, just like aviation. Speeding, swerving, please don't scratch the pavement. When you locate it, no need to be hasty. Is it bote? Hey, can we go away? Away, ay, 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 ay. Take me away, take me away, take me away, ay, 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 ay. Take me away, take me away, 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 away.
Sometimes I do need to
Stay free, stay present.
And we're back with Miss Amuta Stone, and that was "Take Me Away" from her upcoming album Freedom. So as we continue our discussion on women in Afrobeats, part of what I want to understand or learn from you is, do you feel like your heritage or your culture influences your music or your sound in any way?
Somewhat, yes, somewhat. So, somewhat, just but just a little bit, and also because um, in reality, like I don't really have a lot of like I'm not really connected to my culture so much because yeah of how I was brought up. My mom is Igbo, my dad is from Kogi State, so we have two different cultures coming together. And I don't think I was raised with Igbo culture or Igala culture. It was really just yeah.
So you mentioned before when you were describing your sound, whether it's what others have described it as or what you describe it as, more towards the soul and jazz classification. Do you feel
Mm.
like you are not necessarily as welcomed into like Afrobeats spaces?
Do I feel like I'm not really welcomed in? Yes, actually yes. Also because I have been tagged jazz singer. I've been tagged. Everybody calls me a jazz singer around here because not exactly the first single, but there was a single that I released that was that everybody heard and they were like, "Oh, you're a jazz singer." And then when I was booked to perform in places, it would usually be all these classy events. So it's always giving Gatsby themed or something or cocktail events. That's where they call me to perform. And I think I'm booked to perform in these places most of the time because like of the sound that they heard. That's one. Because usually I get most of my bookings from people who have seen me at other performances or by referrals. So yeah. So everybody just thinks, oh, she's a jazz artist. So yeah, in Afrobeat spaces, they also look at me as if I'm a jazz artist. But I love it when I meet people who don't even know what kind of music I do. So they're open. So they just say, oh, what kind of then they ask me or they want to hear my sound. Yeah. I don't know about not being welcomed because every time I create something that is good, people actually listen and they appreciate it. Doesn't really matter what the genre is.
So maybe not being welcome might have been like too far of a stretch, more like there are certain barriers that people have to cross mentally to get to your music if there is a certain expectation from Afrobeats. So
Mhm.
do you think that's a fairer characterization?
To be honest, I'm not really sure. Also because I don't even like focus on that. Like I don't really, yeah, I'm not really focused on that. I really just focus on creating. Yeah, I just focus on creating and then I'm putting it out. Anybody who resonates with it, great, let it marinate. And then if it doesn't apply to you, please like fly over it. That's okay.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on just the term Afrobeats as a genre itself? Do you think it needs to evolve, it needs to expand? Uh is it a limiting factor in how people discuss music that comes out of Nigeria or Africa in general?
Everything needs to evolve, obviously. Everything evolves, that's the truth. But in the present, I think they're doing really well, don't you think?
Uh, I
In the
I
present.
I
In
don't
the
feel
present.
like every everything can be Afrobeats.
Oh yeah, yeah,
In
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. We have gotten to a point where Afrobeat has dominated, our airwaves and the sound. Even we are known, Africa and Nigeria especially is known for Afrobeats. Yeah. I feel you're right. I feel like there should be they should create spaces for other things or other sounds to actually yeah for other
yeah,
sounds to come out and be heard. Yeah. And
yeah,
they can do that. They can actually do that. It's just, maybe how will I put it now? The powers that be. I guess it's the powers that be. The people who are in charge of the sounds. Yeah, they're not really thinking about anything else but Afrobeats. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, because for me, it just seems like if every single Nigerian artist is tagged as Afrobeat, then you're not necessarily getting the nuances or the differences in sound and style in
Yeah,
vocals, and
that's
like
true.
it sort of, even like Alter, for instance, it's like it's
Mm,
almost like the biggest subgenre because it was the first one to sort of, I don't want to say distance itself, but carve out its own lane. So now that
mm,
even Alta itself is almost too big of a subgenre because there are certain there are several styles that fall under Alta or would be considered Alta, even though they
I
themselves
would.
differ.
Yes, even I they will put me in that box too. Yeah.
Okay. So so now like you and Odunsi the Engine are both considered Ote, but do you make the same kind of music?
No, not really.
Yeah, so that's the point I'm trying to make. Like
Hmm.
we need to, I guess, vary our language in a way
Yes.
because it's extremely limiting because if they just put everybody in this same box, and that's just my own little pet project of let's stop calling everything Afrobeats or let's embrace subgenres without making it seem like you're separating. Like subgenres allow for things to be similar but like different. Like it's not identical, but that's just my little PSA. So I just wanted to see what
Yes,
you.
yeah, I'm with you on that, and yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that. You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be
Uh,
great to actually have, other sounds, other genres that are not just Afrobeat or just call it Alt. Yeah.
okay. All right. Cool. 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 So you mentioned your performances are usually at these black tie, very upscale events. So I wanted to know where would you say is, I don't want to say worst, but weirdest place that you've had to perform where you're just looking around like, how did I get here?
That's interesting. Maybe like opening of a lounge or something in like the in the outskirts of town. Yeah, I think yes, that's one of yeah, one of the most interesting performances I've had, and it was very interesting. Also because so this I know this DJ. I met him at a performance at an event that I performed at, and then he was opening his lounge. So he had me come and perform at the event. Yeah, and it was actually they treated me really nice. Like picked me up, dropped me back, and everything. The treatment was really nice, but it was just out of pocket for me. Like yeah, it was different. It was very different. Yeah.
So
And
do
I'm
you
sure there
have
are other places. Just trying to remember.
do you have any that
Sorry.
stick out where because like my cousin told me about a performance that he had where the people that were there didn't want to hear him and
Hmm.
I guess even I don't even know if we can call him a promoter didn't want to pay, so it was one of the other patrons that paid him with a bottle of beer. So I'm,
Wow.
so I'm saying, so
Wow.
I'm not so I'm saying I don't know if you have necessarily something similar, but
Wow.
just like one of those that you're
Also,
like never again.
yeah. Okay, okay. No, I get that. But yo, I love myself so much that if I sniff any kind of mistreatment, I'll just remove myself or I just walk away. And I don't even care who it is. Like if I'm mistreated in any kind of way, or I just remove myself. So not really. And anywhere I've been or I've performed that, I've always been invited to. So when I go there, like they know that I'm coming. That's how I think about it. They know I'm coming. And interestingly, people actually are open to listen to what I'm. Once I just stand on the stage, they're just like, okay, so what is she doing? It's always that kind of. It's always everybody has this question, like, okay, so what's she about to do? Because sometimes I would always be introduced also, like, yeah. So I don't think maybe in the past though, not now. Maybe over 5 6 years ago, but not now.
No, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily have to be now, because this was when he was starting out. So
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
yeah,
Um, I've only had instances where I was supposed to perform at an event, but I was not able to either because there was not enough time or something like. So I never really got on the stage or something. Yeah, I've
got
had
you.
events where I've been booked at, I've been paid, like fully paid, but then I get there and I don't perform, and well, so I don't refund the money now. So
Okay, okay. So
yeah, something like that. Yeah, but I don't think I've had the only thing I've experienced is, but not getting on stage. That's what you're asking, right? Not
no, no,
getting
it
on
could just
stage
be
and then the
even the
audience.
it could even be the locale. It could be like
Mm,
the audience is not your typical audience. It could be that it was a sparse audience. It could be like
mm,
just anything that would just be like never again, or this is like an origin story where like, look at how far I've come?
Oh, okay. Um, oh, there was a well when I started performing, there was a time I performed somewhere, I think in Lagos. It's called Freedom. Is it Freedom Hall or something like that? I can't remember exactly what it was. And my friend is a poet, so he had gotten me to just come and perform that night. And when I got on stage, I think it was one of the first times I was performing live. Yo, I was about to sing, and as I was singing, like the sound was not coming out of my mouth. That's how like I had stage fright. Yes, because yeah, I had stage fright. It was a long time ago, a really long time ago. It was so embarrassing. Like, and then my friends were at the back and they were like, sing, sing. Like, as in, they know that I can sing normally, but I just couldn't. And that's one of the things that made me decide that, oh, I needed to own my stage presence. I needed to be comfortable on stage. Yeah.
So
So I
did you
guess
actually
that
end
that
up
can be an
singing?
experience. No, because I really couldn't. I had the worst stage fright of my life.
Wow.
I couldn't. Like I really couldn't. But yeah, that was a learning. Like it was a learning experience, and I'm thankful for it to be honest, because it also it reminds me that yeah,
Okay.
sometimes we can let anxiety take the best of us, and we shouldn't.
Okay. And what would you say was your favorite, whether it was the best location, the biggest crowd, whatever favorite means to you?
Honestly, I don't have a favorite. Every time I go somewhere that the energy of the audience is great. Like they're high vibrational, they're present, they're just vibing to whatever I'm performing. That's always a great experience. Always a great experience. I remember there was one Valentine because I'm always booked on Valentine's Day. So there was one Valentine's event that I did. I think it was at a bar. And I noticed that the couples, even as I was walking in, I just even felt the energy already. It was giving, I don't know why they were just all so sad. I was like, what's going on here? Yeah, like the energy, they were so sad. Like, even as the band was playing before I even got on, the energy was just droopy. And it's supposed to be Valentine's Day, like Lovers Day, where you're supposed to be out with your partner. I didn't get it.
Oh,
I really didn't. But after then, I've had better events on Valentine's Day because this was like how many years ago? I think 3 years ago. Yeah.
all right. So in when you were talking about like your stage fright incident and mentioned anxiety, and it sort of brings me to my next question. One of your songs, "Speak to Me," also ties in like something I wanted to ask before, but it just feels like the perfect tie-in. The message that you're trying to send in your songs. And speaking of anxiety and this song, like, can you take us through like the process of "Speak to Me" and what exactly it is that you want the audience to take away from a song like this?
So speak to me is it focuses on mental wellness. And it's really a conversation between two people and also a conversation with someone who is also having a conversation with themselves as well. So it's really and there's a chant there that I love so much. It says, take a sip, baby steps, focus on the positives, not negative. I won't let the trauma be my nemesis. Focus on the positive, not negative. So how Speak to Me was created was I went to my friend's house. He is a handpan instrumentalist. So a handpan is like this instrument that looks like a large frying pan. That's what I would call it. Looks like a wok, but it's covered on both sides. Yeah, I,
Mhm.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So he plays that. His name is Pandemic. His stage name is Pandemic. Also because it was during the pandemic that he started really getting into it. So
Mhm.
and we always wanted to create stuff together. But that day I didn't even go to see him. My friend, our mutual friend, was at his house, so I was going to see her. And then I went there, and I got there, and he just started playing the handpan. And as he was playing, as same way "Take Me Away" happened. As he was playing it, I just heard "Speak to me, speak to me." I was just hearing that. And we even made a video that day. I made a video of him playing it and while I was singing. So the following week I had an idea to do a live stage recording. So I called him and asked him if he was available. I called my producer, Grace, and asked him if he was available as well. So Brice said he was available. So we had this stage in a hotel. Was at a bar in a hotel in Taco in Abuja, 3 Days Hotel. This was April. I remember the day. This was April 20th, 2023. So we got on stage and Brace set up, and Pandemic was there as well. So he was recording. So Speak to Me was actually first recorded on stage live. So the sound that you hear in the beginning before I start singing was recorded live. You can even hear like some static
It
or sounds.
oh I
Yeah.
thought it was like raindrops or something.
No,
But it's like it was yeah, okay. Huh.
yeah, it was like kind of like static, like a little bit of noise from the environment that we're in, but it worked. Like we used it just like that. So it's like it's really Speak to Me is really healing music. That's what it is. It's so soothing. Um, Sometimes I just play it for like when I'm meditating or when I'm just doing things around the house. I just play it and let the sound just play. So after recording that, I recorded the chorus, and then Brace took it and went to write the verse. Or yeah, he wrote the verse. So that's it. It's everything just connected. Everything was seamless. That's how Speak to Me was created.
It wasn't that there was a specific incident that this was in response to.
No, no, no specific instance.
Okay.
It's an encouragement. It's also telling yourself that you can't let anything that has happened in your past dictate your present or your future. Yeah, we have
Gotcha.
had experiences, traumatic experiences, but it's important to just stay present. Mental wellness is really just about loving yourself. That's how you. That is loving yourself is key. That's the key to mental wellness.
I listened to it a bunch of times. So like now understanding what was going on at the beginning of the song, knowing that that's like ambient noise for the
Yes,
environment that recording was going on,
yes,
it makes a lot of sense now. So again, if you're listening, go check out "Speak to Me" by Amuta Stone, and you can hear it for yourself, as well as the rest of the song. Like, don't get us wrong, like you're not just listening for the beginning. Like, listen to the message of the song. Like I said, there is a lot of encouragement in there. Like, focus on the positive, not the negatives. Like, it it's a message that anyone can get behind. Is there any musical instrument that you wish you could add to your repertoire, whether it's to just be like your own instrumentalist, or whether it's in collaborating with anyone else, or like is that something that's ever like crossed your mind, and if so, which
yeah,
one?
yeah. Keyboard. Yeah, I'd like to, because that's I would use that for a lot of things. So yeah, keyboard. Not really, not really interested in playing any kind of strings because nah, keyboard. Maybe some percussion instruments too. Yeah, some percussion instruments like a shaker or something like that. But yeah,
Okay.
keyboard. My voice is an instrument.
Indeed it is. Yeah, indeed it is. So last question I'll ask you about performances in general. Do you remember your actual first performance?
My first performance.
Yes.
Okay, after I decided that I want to start creating music, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because if you want to say before, I was singing in church as a
No, no,
child.
no, no.
So
Like as a
okay,
recording artist.
okay, as a recording artist. Well, also there was a time when I hadn't even decided I want to play music. I just loved to perform, and I was working for this company called Dexterity. So they had a concert in NTA one time where they had the band, they had MI, and a bunch of all these really great artists, and I performed then. This was long time ago before I went to university,
Oh
and I
wow.
did that just because because I was playing with music basically. I had recorded a song. There was really a record label then, an upcoming record label that was interested in me, but I had to go to school, so I just left everything and I traveled and I went to school. But it was really then it was a hobby for me. I was just I loved doing it, so I enjoyed. So that performance very interesting. It was at NTA. Trying to remember the year, but after I decided that I wanted to create music from 2010, I had a concert with Two Face, Jesse Jags, and Brimo at Lokoja because I found my sound in Lokoja in Kogi State. That's where I found my sound in 2010. Yeah. So that was my first. That was my first major. That was my first. I can remember that was the first one when I decided, and it was very interesting because the um the event planners or the company that was in charge of the event had a radio station in Lokoja. They had the studio in Lokoja. So I went there weeks before the event, like 3 weeks before, and I recorded the songs that I was going to perform. Then they played it on air. It was on rotation, like morning, afternoon, evening. Yeah. So when I got on stage to perform and they played the song, the crowd started singing, and I was looking like, wow. Like I was really like I was blown away. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a very interesting experience because for them they were like, okay, let's do an experiment. Let us see if we actually make people listen to the song over and over again. Will they, yeah. And the experiment worked. And then from then I just started trying to figure out what my sound was for the next 5 years.
Okay. All right. So, like we said, this is our series on women in Afrobeats, and it's also about women in the music industry. Like, if there was one thing you could change about the music industry, whether it's like you have the entirety of however you interpret that question, what is one thing you would change about the music industry?
I won't really change anything, but I would add more authenticity.
What do you mean by that?
Add more authenticity. I mean, like, let the music be created from a space of, you know, authenticity, like from truth, like create real things that are sounds that are relatable. Let it be something that people can really connect with. You get like Afrobeat is great too, but sometimes it is quite like it can be a little bit empty. I mean,
So,
there's some really great Afrobeat artists that have messages.
so now we're going to go into our lightning rapid fire question portion of things, where you can just come up with the first answer that comes to mind, uh, just to see, to sort of get a better understanding of who you are as an artist. What is one Afrobeat song you'll never get tired of?
I like Kante, Davido's Kante featuring Faith. I really like that song. Kante,
That's
you're feeling the pressure. I like
uh,
her too. I like actually, yeah, I like her. So,
okay. If you weren't making music, what would you be doing?
well, I'm a freelance web developer, so I guess I would be doing that. Also, I've been acting a lot lately. Started acting in 2020, and I used to say that I used to say I was a terrible actor, but alas, people keep sending me scripts.
Oh, anything we might have seen you in, or anything we should be on the
Um,
lookout for?
yeah, you can look at that. They're short films for now. They're actually short films for now. There's one called Breaking by Alien Pros, and I'm still filming. I filmed a few, but they're not yet out, so I can't really talk about it until
What is the first thing you do after you finish your performance?
I drink some water. One, I drink some water, and then I go and relax basically. I relax. So if it depends on where I am. If I am if it's a party, yeah, I just I go and have a good time. Yeah, if I'm still supposed to be there. But if not, I just leave and then I go back home and I rest.
What would you say is your superpower as an artist? Whether it's vocals, melodies, songwriting, performing, which one would it be?
Vocals,
Vocals. Okay.
vocals and
Uh,
songwriting. You said one, so
hmm.
vocals.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be part of that list. It could be anything. Like as an artist, what is your superpower? I just gave examples.
Okay. Yeah, vocals. Being able to express that, just the expression.
The artist who comes up most in your playlist.
Huh, that's interesting. Very interesting. I don't really listen to so much music with vocals. I listen to a lot of like just sounds. So, who do I listen to more than everybody else? Interestingly, it's different every time. I don't have a particular artist that I always listen to all the time. It's always different.
Okay.
It differs with, unless you're talking about the present, then in the present I'm not even listening. I'm not listening to any artist. I'm listening to a lot of sounds. So I'm listening to sounds,
Gotcha. All right.
instrumentals, just instrumental.
Who's your dream artist to collaborate with?
It's always Damian Mali.
Okay. Any particular reason why?
I like his sound, and he's always very. He's one of the most authentic artists that I know.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
just put it out into the universe, and you never know. What advice would you give to young women looking to break into the music industry?
Be yourself. Be yourself. Stay present. Don't get distracted by anything, by anybody. Focus. Focus. And keep going. Stay consistent.
And the last thing, where do you see yourself, your music, your career in 5 years?
Worldwide.
Okay.
Um, a more global audience. Yeah. Worldwide. Global audience. And
And just
it'll be, music will be more like, it'll be, it'll be more, a lot more from the soul. Yeah. It'll be a lot more from the soul. Like, when I say soulful ballad, it has to be, it will be more from the soul.
all right. We're just know here at the Well Actually podcast, we're rooting for you and we are listening actively. So yeah.
Thank
So
you. Thank
just by that alone, you're already worldwide because you're already being listened to in multiple continents already. So we're just doing our
you.
part.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
thank you, Miss Amuta Stone. Remember, everybody who's listening, go check out her work,
Mm.
whether it's "Take Me Away," "Speak to Me," and the new Freedom project that's coming up. You said this quarter, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. There's a documentary for that as well. So the documentary will be released when the project is released.
Oh, okay.
My
Okay.
journey and yeah,
All right. Look at you being multimedia. All right. No problem.
yeah.
All right. And thank you to everyone who's listening, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, iHeart. And thank you to everyone who's watching on YouTube. Again, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know where you're listening from. And if you're about to go check out Amuta's music, follow her on all those socials. Again, where can people find you on socials?
Instagram, TikTok, Amuta Stone. I'm also on Facebook. So just type Amuta Stone together. Facebook Amuta, first name, then Stone.
Okay. All right. Thank you again for being part of this project. We really appreciate your time and your insights and into your experiences and everything. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Of course. Of course. And thank you to everyone listening. Remember, share, rate, review. And we're going to try and have another interview like this coming soon. Thank you very much, everyone.